This is the Reinforce Your Gym podcast with your host, Dustin Vogel. This show is about arming gym owners with the tools, strategies, and lessons they need to take their business to the next level. That way, they can make a greater impact in their community. Now, let's get to work and reinforce your gym.
All right, this week I am weighing in on the debate between short-term trials or longer-term trials and which one is right for your gym. All right, so let's dive into this. To be fair, I think both of them can work. I think there is always multiple ways to skin the cat, but if I were to coach someone which direction to go, I think you'll hear which one I favor in today's episode. So let's get into it. All right, we know marketing, there's a lot of different ways to get people through the doors, but usually an offer with an outcome is going to be your best bet because people want to know, what am I going to get in exchange for my money, right? To just sell them workouts, to just sell them, come try it out. Like it's like this black cloud. It's vague. Why? What am I going to get? So I'm always a big fan of selling outcomes. So I want to preface it with that. Whether you do short or long term, you should state an outcome the person's going to get. My job on this episode is just to clearly lay out what I think are the pros and cons of each, because both do have pros and cons. All right, so let's get into it. So a short-term trial is something that I define as either 1 day to 2 weeks. Maybe I would even stretch it to 3 weeks. To me, it's very short-term. So come in and do 1 free session, 3 free sessions, a free week pass, a 14-day trial, a 21-day trial. All of that I'm going to bunch under the term of short-term trials, okay, 21 days and below. Now, here are the pros. It will definitely help you to get a lower barrier of entry to get people to say yes, right? It makes it easier for someone to buy from you with a very, very bite-sized commitment. Hey, it's just 7 days. Hey, it's just 14 days. And so people that are hesitant, have anxiety, they've been burned by other gyms, this is a great way to get them to say yes, right? And you can create urgency. You can say, this is not going to be around forever. We're taking this away. We only take 1 group a month. But it does allow for a high amount of leads to become sales because it is a very bite-sized decision, right? And probably a bite-sized price. Now, the other part of this is the marketing advantages. You can pop these up during different times of the year. You know, it's a Mother's Day special, it's a summer special, it's a kids back to school special, it's a grand opening. And so you can get more launches in a year, more programs because they're all very short. So those are advantages. That's a pro. Another one is the psychological benefits. All right. When a client is seeing these, a potential client, they can see this as a quick win. Like, wow, if I could just really stick to it for 14 days, that'll be awesome. If I can just get 6 workouts in, I can prove to myself I can stick to this. It's very much an easy win for a beginner or someone who gets easily overwhelmed, and it allows them to get that taste test that they tend to want. Like, I want to make sure I like your coaches, your program, the session times fit into my schedule, right? So there's these psychological wins that come with a short-term trial. And then there's operational efficiencies, right? This is a pretty simple onboarding. Usually we're just pushing people into the workout program. This isn't complicated. We're not going to have a big, long onboarding for someone that's only going to be here 1, 2, or 3 weeks. And so that is an operational efficiency. It's usually like get them on the app, get them booked in for their first session, and get them in here. And that is all the pros, in my opinion. Now, as much as they're pros, I want to address the cons. So with a very short trial, there is a limited chance anyone's going to create a habit here, right? No one's really going to build a habit in 7 or 14 days to work out or eat better. They're just getting going. It's just like a very surface quick win. And the other part is they don't get to get deeply integrated into the community and the culture, right? They might have had a few interactions, but they're pretty surface, like, hey, how's your day? The weather's crazy, right? Like maybe a few of those in 2 weeks. So now they didn't really get a behavioral win. They didn't really feel part of the culture. The second part, which I think is a huge part of why I'm not a fan for like beginnerish gyms or beginnerish teams to do short-term trials, is because the sales pressure, all right? To get a sales decision from somebody in a very tight window, you got to have your stuff dialed in, right? So to get a trial to become a member on a 3-day pass or a 1-week pass, people cannot miss. They have to have a very dialed in sales process because people can start slipping through the cracks and you can feel frustrated that I'm spending all this money on marketing and selling trials, and then the membership opportunities just slipping through the cracks. to be honest, in 1 week, someone might even do one workout and just not come in, and you missed a membership sales opportunity. So this is constant sales grind, and it can really start to burn out your staff because they're like, it never ends. Like every week, somebody needs to be talked to. Someone needs to be talked to about, sales membership. And they're like, oh my God, like this is really wearing me down. The other con is low revenue collection. And that means that you're going to have probably a lot of non-starters, people that just pay your measly fee and just not even utilize it because it didn't really hurt their wallet. And for you, you're probably not even making back your marketing spend. So not a fan of that. And then, like I said, another kind of spin on earlier is just shallow relationships. Coach-client relationships are shallow. They got like a surface level transformation. Maybe they dropped 2 to 5 pounds. And they just didn't get a chance to go deeper into their lifestyle issues that they need to address. So these are the cons, in my opinion, and why I'm not the biggest fan of short-term trials. I might tell someone to drop in 2 or 3 of them a year during really, really slow seasons. For those who've owned gyms for many years, we know when those slow seasons are. I might drop them in, but just not really a fan of them for that reason. Now, if you've grown your gym off of free week passes, off of short-term trials, do not change your system because I'm sitting here bad-mouthing them, because like I said earlier, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. There are people who have done it. It's just not what I would choose as my optimized system. So now we'll get into long-term trials. This is something I start at 30 days and they even go up to 90 days, which you might say, that's not a trial, that's a membership. Okay, well, you can position it that way. I can say you can frame it as a 90-day program, or you can call it a 3-month membership. It really is the same thing. We're selling them time for money. How you frame it doesn't matter. I just know that the customers respond really well to this because you're putting things much in their favor. Let's face it, when you do a short-term trial, a lot of times gyms do this because they selfishly want that EFT and MRR flip as fast as possible. They want someone to flip from a trial to membership in 7 days, which in my opinion is like a selfish approach. Like if you really want to help the person, let them get a true taste test of what it's like to be part of your gym and your community for a longer period of time. And then by then they'll be so like on board. And that's what we tend to see is that people get on long-term trials 70, 80% conversions to membership. And on short-term trials, they're getting like 30 to 40%. So like, let's follow the math, right? And why is that behavior happening when we're delivering the same workouts, our team is the same? Well, I argue it's because they got to go deeper into the culture and the results with a longer trial. So let's dive into it. Pros. Number one, they are actually starting to build some habit changes. If they do something for 30 days, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 90 days, we are actually creating a habit here, right? They're getting deeply integrated into the culture and they're starting to make real lifestyle changes. This is not a quick fix if you've been doing it for this long. Also, the retention rate is higher. When people come in on long-term trials, they stay much longer. We've seen data-wise versus short-term trials. They'll maybe agree to become a member, but they'll bounce within 2 or 3 months. And that is not a quality member, right? We want high quality members, low churn, high retention, and high LTV, lifetime value. Stronger relationships, okay? Your members build meaningful relationships with your coaches, your clients when they've been around a lot, right? It's just a factor of time. If you really ask yourself, how does one build a relationship? You spend time with them. And when marriages start having problems, it's usually like they're not spending enough time. They're getting pulled into work and kids, and then they never have time. And then they start having more time, and then what do you know? The marriage starts healing. The same concept can be applied to your members that are on a trial and they're not getting a lot of time with a coach or with you or with other members, and then they choose to not stay or they choose to cancel, right? And so that's why it's one of the 5 love languages is quality time. How much actual meaningful conversations are they having with your team, with members? They have more time with the longer trial, so that means there's a higher chance they're getting all that, right? And so they're getting integrated into that community, and then now they're bringing referrals. Operational benefits. You're going to be able to have more predictable session planning because you have people that are staying. And when they've signed up with you for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, you can now factor them being a member in that session versus when you're turning and burning so many trial people, how do you know what sessions are going to be busy and which one's the plan on your schedule? It can be very frantic, right? So you got better utilization on your staff. You got better utilization on your sessions, right? And the best part, in my opinion, is you're also optimizing for low volume sales months because they happen to everybody. Like if anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying. everyone has a slow month, right? No one has high sales every single month. We want it, but it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen during the holidays. It might happen a little bit in the summer when a lot of people are on vacation, or if you're in a transient town where people come in for a season and they leave for a season. So what I love about longer trials is not only are you able to charge more, but you're optimizing for low volume, right? So for example, let's say you make 10 sales a month, which would be probably pretty low volume for most of us. Well, let's say you're selling something for $300, $500, $800. That's $5,000, that's $8,000 from front end revenue trials, right? Or trial revenue. But if you're like, hey, we sell $50 trials and I need 30, 40 people in here every month, and you're still not even making the same as the person optimizing for low volume. So I like it that it's longer and then you can charge more, and all the wins happen when the person is paying more, right? When you pay attention. When you pay more attention. And that's what longer trials help people to do, is to sell more expensive programs. Now, there are cons. I'm not going to say it's perfect. I'll call those out. There is a higher barrier to entry. There's a, more financial cost here. So the person has to be ready to make that financial commitment and also commit to you for a longer period, 6, 8, 12 weeks. And that means you're going to have to build more trust. You can't just do a quick 5-10 minute discovery and sell this person. Again, when a trial's $25, $50, $75, like, they don't have to go into a whole lot with you to be able to shell out that kind of money. But when you're going to ask hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars, there is going to need to be more trust building, which then brings me to my next point, is more difficulty around marketing and sales. It doesn't mean that it's not possible. It just means reset your expectations. I'm now selling to a smaller piece of the market in my area, which means my marketing, positioning, and messaging has to be dialed in. My nurture sequences have to be on point, and my sales process has to be all about building value, right? Immense value, and really priming us as the number one gym in the area that services these people, right? That are going to be buying this program for you. So that's not easy, right? Like, to build a very dialed in marketing and sales process, that's what's needed. You can't just hire a teenager off the street and then boom, they're in there and they're selling multi-hundred or $1,000 programs. So that is a con of this situation. And then the final one is competitive disadvantage. I'm not going to lie. Like, if a gym down the street is selling a cheap trial and they're undercutting you, your long-term program's $500 and they have something for $50, yes, you're going to lose sales. And the thing is, that's why you got to start with your vision. What is the vision for your company? Who are the type of people you want to work with? How many members do you want, right? Maybe you can build the vision you have with 150 members paying $300, $350 a month versus 300 or 400 members paying $120 or $150 a month. So, like, don't feel forced to follow and borrow someone else's vision. You got to get clear on yours and get after it, and then sell the trial that will feed that vision, right? So it does require premium positioning, a dialed in marketing process, lead nurture, sales process, trust being built, higher cost, right? Everything's hard. If you go and do the short-term trial, the hard is volume. I got to find the volume. I got to, go for volume. And then long-term is, I'm not getting volume. I have to get better at sales and building value. Neither one's easy. They're both going to be hard. It's just, which hard do you feel equipped to attack? What's the hard that aligns with your vision? What's the hard that you want to work on, right? We're all working on a hard. I got hard things going on in my business. You got hard things in yours. We're all working on them, but it's about choosing the one that you want to go after, not feeling forced to solve someone else's hard because you borrowed their vision, right? So guys, that's it in a nutshell. My pros and cons list of short-term versus long-term trials. As you hear, my bias is towards long-term. You can charge more. The person's paying more attention. They get a deeper relationship with the coach and the client. You're going to get a high quality customer that's going to become a long-term client. And you get to also make your marketing dollars back way quicker, right? So, like, that's my 2 cents. Would love to hear if you have a different opinion. I'm open to hearing how other people have built their business. So tag me on social media, screenshot this, say, hey, this is what I've used in my gym to grow my business. It's been super successful. Love hearing how other people have done it. All right. If you guys enjoyed this episode, give me a 5-star review. Gives me that fire to keep making them for you every single week. All right. Talk to you guys next week. Gym owners, take a much needed time out from working in your business and work on your business. All right. We can do it together at the Scale Your Gym workshop. This is a live event I'm putting together in Dallas on September 5th and 6th, and I'd love to see you there. And in fact, I made it as affordable as possible by making tickets only $50 a person. Okay, that's a smoking deal. And that way you can bring a manager, a head coach, a business partner, anybody else that you want to bring, they can come too. All right, so go ahead and secure your tickets because we are limiting this to just 25 people. We want it to be a small, intimate workshop, and you will leave with a clear action plan on how to grow your business to the next level. All right, so go ahead and go to scaleyourgymworkshop.com. Grab your tickets now.